Hey guys, how are we? Welcome. It's me. It is Lefforge. We are doing a live stream tonight. I am so grateful for anybody that shows up to this tonight. It was super last minute. Laser Cat's here. 56 Strine is here. Dawn's here. Good to see you guys. Hopefully the audio is okay. I noticed on our last live stream, I move my head around way too much when I talk. So you kept getting this like weird clicking noise that I'm hoping to avoid. So y'all let me know. Oh, Karen B is here. Karen, you need to go to bed. It is late in London for you, lady. So super grateful as always for you guys as we're kind of waiting for some people to show up. I know 11 p.m., which if you're me, that is old lady time right there. I'm usually in bed by 9 p.m. Chris is here. Awesome. So the real reason, of course, I love Ryan's here. Yay. Disney Ever After. Hey, good to see you. I am doing a live stream. Number one, because I love hanging out with you guys. That is always the first reason to do a live stream. The number two reason, hey, Sarah, so glad you're here all the way from Canada. I love it. The number two reason is if you've been following me on Instagram, which you all should be, Max, our 110-pound Great Pyrenees, had surgery. Hi, Elise. So good to hear from you. Maureen's here on Friday. And so we brought him home Saturday, and it was TPLO surgery, if you guys have heard of it. Terry, hey, good to see you. Anyway, the recovery is a much more involved process than I knew. I mean, we're talking medications and the whole 9 yards. And I knew that I did not want to skip Runday Monday, especially since so many of us are training for big races and turkey trots and the Walt Disney World Marathon. So I wanted to make sure that we still did this week. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get it done, and I'm going to do it as a live because that saves me a few steps. Plus you guys can talk to each other and ask questions. And I absolutely love that. Oh, hey, you guys, Bart Scott is here. So Bart is, if you guys, in fact, I need to announce tonight the winner, but I'm going to do that as a separate video, Bart, and then I'll email you. There is a giveaway up where I'm giving away a copy of Bart's book. Well, actually, Bart is giving away a copy of Bart's book, Cats of the Castle, and fabulous book. You guys definitely should go to Amazon and pick it up. I will put it in the show notes. But Bart's a great supporter of the channel. So Bart, I'm always glad when you're here. And thank you for your love to my puppy. Yeah, if anybody's ever done major surgery on your dog, y'all, they literally put like a piece of metal in this dog's knee. It's ridiculous. But evidently they're telling me that he will be back to normal and everything will be good. So that's right, Bart. Teamwork makes the dream work. So hey, Nicole, I'm glad you're here. So it is Runday Monday. So we're going to try to stay on point with talking about Run Disney. But of course, you guys are always welcome. If there's more of you on here that want to chat about something else, I am totally okay with going in that direction. I did want to kind of go over briefly for anybody that Max will be fun at airports now. Sarah, that is so funny that you said that because I said the same thing. I was like, oh, great. I guess he needs a special line at the airport. Oh, no. Karen, what marathon did you sign up for? When are you doing a marathon? Y'all, you people that accidentally sign up for marathons, what is the deal with that? I may or may not have done that myself a few times, but that's a thing. My son just asked me if I would, for those of you that don't know, I have run 4 full marathons. And every marathon I swore was my last marathon. No, you're doing Dublin? Do they have a half? Tell me if they have a half. Because if they have a half, Karen, maybe I need to come and do that with you in October. Because that seems like a good time of the year to run in Dublin. I mean, hey, why not? So anyway, oh, Laser Cat, congratulations on getting up to 60 subscribers. That is a very big deal. So yay, you. And that was only like a month ago. So that's awesome. I'm super happy about that. They have a half in August in Dublin. Except for the only problem with a half in August in Dublin, which means I would have to be training in June and July in Atlanta. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm still going to look into that because it would be really fun. You know, I need to get it through my head. I can go to a foreign country and not run a half marathon. Like they do allow me to come in and just be a tourist. I don't actually have to run a half marathon, although I didn't run one in London. I'm wearing my Disneyland Paris half shirt. I don't know if you guys can see it. And I am a little punchy and a little tired. So if I get off topic, you guys are just going to have to forgive me because did you know that you have to get up in the middle of the night to administer medication to a dog? So my kids are grown. I'm not used to getting up in the middle of the night with babies. And that's what I've been having to do for the last 3 nights. And it's exhausting. And it's hard to see him hurting, y'all. So that part is not fun at all. So anyway, I'm trying to see who all are. Do I have any runners that are here? Because if I don't, I mean, I know Karen is. So Karen, it's only 11 o'clock there. So Karen, as long as you're here, how is your training going for the Walt Disney World? Oh, you're not doing Walt Disney World. So other than October, when is your next half marathon, Karen? Because I feel like you're doing one soon, but I could be wrong about that. Oh, good. And Mike is here and Mike's a runner. So that's awesome. Is anybody doing any turkey trots? You guys know that I'm doing, what am I doing? I'm doing a turkey trot in Atlanta. It is, I think it's called you guys, what's the name of that drug that that was super random. That drug that turkey gives off. Tryptophan. Is that right? Anyway, it's called that, and it's up in Forsyth, Mike. So that is where I'm doing my turkey trot. Yay, Shriek 1981. It's so great to see you. I'm so glad you're here for our live stream. So motivating you to run. Yes, I'm hoping I will motivate you to run. Meredith is running the Star Wars in April and a local half in May. That is fabulous. Meredith, I always say it's always run 2 half marathons if you're already training for one, right? Because you might as well get it in. That's probably a terrible idea from a coaching perspective. But for me, if I'm going to do all that work, I want to get 2 medals for it instead of just one. Screenk 1981 wants to know, how do you manage a time change and running in a foreign country? Okay, so if you go and watch my Disneyland Paris half marathon video, you'll see that it was, my time was lousy. And you know what? I was really well trained for that race, but I really think, and those of you guys that have run in a foreign country, back me up if you think I'm right on this. I think the jet lag and the time change and just not just the time change, but just the stress of travel really affected my results. I was fine. Like I just got over it and I was like, you know what? I am running in Paris at Disneyland. So who flippin' cares? I started in Corral A, which was super weird, y'all. For some reason, Run Disney France just puts people in whatever corral and you can't move back. Like if I had had the option, I would have loved to have moved back to a later corral because I'm not a Corral A girl and it actually made me start out too fast. So I think that had a lot to do with it too. Those of you, if you haven't run half marathons and marathons, if you start out too fast, what happens is you basically run out of gas about halfway through your race, and the last half to third is a death march. So you really want to start out slow and then slowly pick up the pace, right? Which is what we call a negative split. So you start, for me, a really good start would be at about like 11:45 per mile, and then slowly move that up so that when I'm finished, I'm like at an 11, even maybe at 10:30. I did the opposite in Paris, completely ran out of gas, and it was not the experience that I wanted. So that's how I adjusted. So I think if I had just accepted that and not worried about it, which about halfway through, I was like, who cares? I'm just running this for fun. And it all worked out great. So, but I always think every time I run a race, I'm sure this is the race that I'm going to like exceed my every expectation and do much better than I did in training. And I'm an eternal optimist. That never happens, but I always think that someday it will. Yes, that is the lesson we learned. Don't expect to PR on a destination race. There's just a lot going on. So I think that's really, really good advice that I wish I had taken. Terry, you're doing a turkey trot in Colorado Springs. Supposed to be a 45 degrees that morning. Oh, and the dog's running. Actually, 45 degrees, as long as it's not raining. That doesn't sound bad. I kind of like that for a turkey trot. It's supposed to be about that here in Atlanta. Hold on, let me check. Hold, please. I'm kind of trying to see what, I think around 45 is what we're going to be. I always stalk the weather. Low of 33. So it's even going to be colder than that. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to wear yet. I don't have anything festive, but I need to figure out something festive to wear. So, Meredith, I am so excited for Star Wars. Make sure you come and see if you can find me. Make sure you're following me on Instagram because I would love to meet you. Daryl, who is Happy Canadian Guy, wants to know, I find if I take a cab halfway through the race, he said, I find if I take a cab halfway through the race, my time significantly improves. Yes, that is very valid. I really wish I could do that. That would be fantastic. And yeah, it has been, today was beautiful. It was only 55, but it was sunny. So the weather has been uncharacteristically cool for us, which has been great for running. But we've had a couple of days that are just too cold. And I don't like that. I'm a huge baby when it comes to the cold. So to motivate you, Maureen is here and wants to be motivated. I'll go over kind of what I ran last week. As I kind of explained in our last Runday Monday, I'm kind of training for this 10K, hoping to get a good qualifying time. Karen's telling me it's cold and rainy there now. That's right, because I'm not there anymore. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Right, Karen? I brought the sunshine with me. I'm just kidding. You want me to come back? So, sorry, what was I talking about? Right. Training for time for this 10K so I can get a good qualifying time. And then I'm running the half marathon in January, really just to finish it, not with any time goal in mind. So I'm actually a little low on mileage to be ready for the half marathon, but since I just ran one in September, I think I'll be good. What I really wanted to talk to you guys about today is this last week I was on the treadmill more than normal because we had some really cold, rainy temperatures. And I was going to see if anybody else, Karen's saying it's been cold and rainy in London. Dawn, I know that you'll end up with lots of snow. And I'm just wondering how many treadmill people do I have? I happen to love my treadmill. Obviously, I would always rather run outside whenever possible, and I used to hate the treadmill. And over the years, I've kind of learned how to embrace my treadmill and some tips and tricks. So if you guys want to hear my tips for that, let me know, and I'll kind of give you how I survive. My longest treadmill training run to date was 17 miles. And that was for the Walt Disney World Marathon. We were having a lot of ice and snow in Dallas that year. And I had already missed doing that distance for like 2 weeks. And I was like, I have got to get this 17-mile run done. So I did it on the treadmill. And who just called it the Treadmill? Okay, Scrink 1981. That is my first tip for you, is that you have to have a positive attitude about it. So the treadmill can be your friend. And I like running outside better, Maureen, just because it's a lot more spiritual for me, I guess. I don't know. Something about just staring at a wall. My treadmill is here in our basement, and I'm very grateful to have it. I can also go to the gym, but if the weather's too cruddy to run outside, I probably don't want to get in the car and drive to the gym. So I like having it right here. Hang on, you guys. My dog is barking, and I'm going to let my son know to let him downstairs. Talk amongst yourselves. Walter's going to come and join us. He's been a little upset with Max's surgery as well. So anyway, so my tips for the treadmill are... I don't know if y'all saw that. My son, Will Lefforge, literally just put here, Mom, can you bring me some toilet paper? Which he had sent me on my phone. And I texted back, I'm live streaming. And so he came over here on the live stream to ask me to bring him toilet paper. Slow blink. Those of you that are raising boys, this is how this works. Good times, good times. Shannon, I'm dying over here. My family. Anyway, Zia is a good friend of Will's. Zia, could you please drive to my house and give your friend Will some toilet paper? Thanks. What were we talking about? The treadmill. So, tips and tricks for the treadmill. Number one, don't call it the treadmill because that sets up a pejorative idea in your mind. I mean, you can if you want. Nobody adores the treadmill, but think of it as a really great way to maintain fitness and have movies, have podcasts, have audiobooks Also, the first mile on the treadmill is always horrific, like mind-numbingly horrific. But after you've been on there for a mile, your body will kind of adjust. So having good movies, having a really good playlist. Walter, come here, buddy. Come here. You gonna lay down? Want to come here? Okay, Walter's down here now, you guys. Having a really good playlist with really, really motivating music is awesome. Podcasts, Ryan is right. I listen to the Mickey Miles, not Mickey Miles, although is that even still around? I used to listen to the Mickey Miles podcast. Let's look at what I have on my phone right now for podcasts, because I listen to podcasts actually while I run all the time. I listen to the Be Our Guest podcast, which if I have any lizards watching, that's a running group. I'm not part of that group, but it is a great group. The Running Lizards, I think they're called, on Facebook. I also listen to the Diz Runs podcast. If you guys know Denny Cray, I've actually been a guest on his podcast. So you can actually go to his podcast and hear my entire running story. We talked for like 45 minutes. So that's one that I love. Ears of Steel, of course, I love. That is Bart Scott's podcast. The Adam Carolla Show, that's mostly my husband's, but I listen to that sometimes too. The Morning Shakeout with Bart Yasso is really good. So some people like to listen to running podcasts while they're running. I'm more inclined to listen to non-running podcasts while I'm running. That's why I have a lot of Disney related material on there. Love NPR Wait, Don't Tell Me. That cracks me up. I think I like to listen to something that kind of disengages my mind from the running. There's also some really great playlists if you have Spotify. There's actually a RunDisney playlist on Spotify, you guys, that has great mixes of some classic Disney music plus some of like The Descendants and High School Musical. And I have loved that playlist. So check for that as well if you're a Spotify person. The big thing on the treadmill is to not get hurt. So you want to make sure WW Prep to Go. I don't follow that one. I'll have to look that up, Skrink 1981. I forgot to remind you guys, I do have Super Chat on. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, there is a $ at the bottom that you are more than welcome to press. I don't like saying it's a donation, but all the money that I make from Super Chat and from the ads that you have to sit through on my channel all goes back into my channel. It goes towards equipment. It goes towards my Wi-Fi here at home. So if you want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it. Also, don't skip through ads. Did you guys know that when you skip through ads, we don't get paid? So I know it's hard, but just sit there for the 45 seconds and that really helps us out as YouTube creators. So on the treadmill, the big thing is not to get hurt. So a really good way to go is to make sure that you have a little bit of the incline on. You do not want to run on the treadmill completely flat. It's just it's not good for you. You know, when you run outside, you've got a little bit of terrain movement. So maybe mess with the incline a little bit. Another great thing to do on the treadmill, if it's not a long run, is to do speed work. And Dawn, you and I don't know if Dawn is still here, but she and I were talking about speed work. If you're new to speed work, my favorite speed work workout is 4x400s. And especially if you have a treadmill like mine, it has a little track thing so I can watch myself going around. The treadmill can be dangerous for losing toenails, Dawn. You fell off the treadmill, Mike. Okay. Use the incline, not a lot, like 0.5 or maybe 1. 4x400s are my favorite workout on the treadmill. If you can do 4x800s, it's even better. But for those of you who don't know, and you might have heard runners say, I did my 4x800s or my 8x800s, which is insanity, or my 4x400s. A 400 is one time around the track. So a 4x400 is going to be one time around the track at a faster than normal speed for you. Don't push it too much because that's a really good way to get hurt. And then a short recovery, either walking or running, and then back at it again. And you do that 4 times. I find that makes a treadmill go really fast. I worked with a running coach years ago, and she taught me to do a mile warm up, 4x400s, and a half mile to a mile cool down. And it is still my favorite workout on the treadmill because I get all my mileage in and I get some really good speed work in. Just be careful again that you don't push the speed too much. If you are not 25, especially, that is a really good way to get hurt. So have you tried Zwift for running? It's a virtual running program. I am not familiar with it, but I'm assuming, does it have like, Jason, does it have like workouts for the treadmill, like they take you through a workout, because I'd be really interested in that. So I'll definitely look that up. Have I ever gotten injured on the treadmill? I will say, and Kelly is saying that she got a stress fracture from running on the treadmill. I am more prone, not, I haven't been injured, but I am more prone to soreness if I am forced to run on the treadmill. So that's why I really try to play with the incline. And that's much more likely to be a speed workout for me so that I'm varying my tempo. For me, and again, you guys, I am not a doctor. I am not a running coach. I'm an ordained pastor, but that doesn't really help us, does it? Unless you want me to perform your marriage ceremony. But um, when when I am when I'm outside running, I'm not running exactly the same pace mile after mile after mile, right? I might get a little slower or a little faster. When you're on the treadmill, it's the exact same pace mile after mile. So you want to vary that. You want to break that up to more mimic what it would be like outside. That's why I like to kind of mess with the incline a little bit, go a little faster, go a little slower to keep those injuries from happening. So, Maureen, a stress fracture, it's more like a hairline fracture that's usually caused from repetitive movement. So, a lot of us get. I've never had a stress fracture, but it's very common in runners, and you can walk around with one for a long time and not even know you have it, and then the doctor will diagnose you. But somebody Google it. Don't take my definition on that. But stress fractures are really common with repetitive movement, which running obviously is. So, other than the treadmill, what else can you do for training on a rainy day? So, if you live in Atlanta and you have a basement like I do, Mike, you can run the stairs. That is a really hard workout, but a really good way to at least get your cardio. And it would, it's not that hard to maintain your running fitness. Obviously, I think it was Jeff Galloway that I read said, and I'll put in show notes for this, I'll put a link to a couple of his books. If you guys haven't read any of Jeff Galloway's books, he's got so much great advice for runners. But he did one that was about, I think it was called Mental Training for Runners or Mental Strength, something like that. But you really, what were we saying? Oh, doing the steps. It's really harder than you think to lose your fitness completely. So on a day when you don't feel like running, do the stairs, go for a brisk walk. If you can't run 3 miles, could you run 1 mile? And that's what I was going to suggest on the treadmill. If 3 miles on the treadmill just makes you sick to your stomach, tell yourself, I'm just going to do 1 mile on the treadmill, because you can still maintain your fitness if on that particular day. Obviously, if you do that all the time, you're going to have a problem. But if you can only get 1 mile in, then that's 1 mile more than you would have had otherwise. And you're keeping your body in that habit of running. Because, Mike, I'm with you. When we have here in Atlanta, and I know other places get it too, and especially places that are getting ready to have a lot of snow and ice, that day after day of not being able to go outside to run can really get after you. I know a lot of gyms are now doing the water running, which, interestingly, bringing it full circle back to my dog is going to have hydrotherapy. So he'll be running. The North Georgia veterinary specialist has a hydrotherapy for dogs, and that's the workout that he'll be doing. So anyway, just thought that was super interesting. It's amazing what you can do. And so, anybody else have any ideas for Mike about other, kind of other workouts you can do and things like that when it's raining and icy and horrible? Kelly says ESPN 30 for 36 who sat up. Let's see. And we're back to podcasts that are good. Yes, that sounds like a great podcast. I need to check that one out as well. I need to look on here and see what else might be available. Yes, running up the basement steps would work. You have to bring up the Christmas stuff anyway. Yeah, there you go. So for Zwift, you can run Jason's telling us you can run by yourself, or you can do as a group run. You need a pod attached to your shoe. Okay, Jason, I heard of this years ago when I was a blogger. I feel like they reached out to me, and I was just starting to kind of not do the blog as much, so I never followed up with them. But that would be really interesting. I love the idea of running on the treadmill with other runners. That would be really, really fun. So does anybody have any, Ryan, in Wisconsin, we usually just bundle up and drink. Yeah. So people that live in ice and snow, you guys, a lot of you get those things that go on, are they tracks that go on the bottom of your shoes and just go out and run in the ice and snow, which I mean, I suppose the reality is if I lived in one of those freezing cold places, I would figure out a way to make it work because that just makes sense. I mean, I don't think I could stay inside an entire winter. Everywhere I've lived, Texas and Atlanta, it always warms up a little bit eventually, right? So, anyway, so Run Disney, let's talk about that a little bit. If you're doing the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, somebody tell me how many weeks we have left. Not that many. So those of you that are doing Dopey or Goofy, or if you're just just doing the half or full marathon, which that's the only time we say to people, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just doing the marathon, or I'm just doing the half marathon. Like that is nothing, but I am just doing the half marathon. So my training, like I said, is going pretty well. Maureen wants to know, if I were to be thinking of doing a Run Disney half, how long should I train to be ready? And how far in advance should I reserve a race? So, Maureen, the reality with Run Disney races is the minute you think you might want to do it, I would go ahead and sign up for it. It's not as bad as it used to be. You know, it used to sell out immediately, but I typically sign up the day that registration opens. There is early registration for DVC and annual pass holders. And you're going to sign up, months before you would need to start training. As far as when should you start training, so that really has to do with your running base. If you are already running 5 or 6 miles on a regular basis, you could probably ramp up for a half marathon in only maybe 8 weeks or so. However, if you're just starting a running program, you're going to want months to prepare because everybody is different. And if it's your first half marathon, I would definitely, okay, so if you're Maureen, you're not running at all. Okay, so definitely you want to start your running base. Now, are you planning on running or walking, whatever event it is? Because obviously, but I will say it doesn't really matter. Even if you're walking, you still need to train. I once walked a half marathon, and if you have never walked a half marathon and you don't train, you're going to be hurting. So you need to train regardless of what race you're doing. I would want to run as a goal. Okay, so Maureen, in your case, I would go look at some training plans. Again, Jeff Galloway's is excellent. Jeff does the run walk intervals. And it's not like the Couch to 5K where you do the run walk intervals and then eventually you stop walking. You continue to do that. That's what I do for half marathons and longer. I run for a minute and a half and I walk for 30 seconds. And that's just what I do over and over and over again. Skrink 1981 is telling me how much she loves Galloway. Me too. Before I started doing Galloway running, I was exhausted after races. I was very sore during my training. And with Galloway, and I'm not kidding you, I can run a full marathon and not have any soreness, very little soreness the day of, and almost no soreness the day after. I've been amazed at how much faster my recovery time is. So, and I actually sped up. So Mike is doing Galloway as well. That's actually how I got my half marathon PR, which is personal record. Depending on the country, I think in the UK they call it a PB, personal best. They mean the same thing. It's just the best time you've ever done in that particular race. And yeah, I did my best half marathon was the first half marathon that I did where I trained during the run walk method, and I will never go back. I do shorter races. I will run the whole race, like my 10K on Thursday. I plan on running the whole race. But even like I did a very hilly run on Sunday, and I did a run walk interval for that. And you just feel better after and during. And I think it's made me far less prone to injury, especially as I get older. So check out Jeff Galloway's training plans. I think his run, I think they're like 10 to 12 weeks. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. JeffGalloway.com. I've also done Hal Higdon's training programs for both the half and a full marathon. I really like those. So lots of great training plans. The Another Mother Runner, they have really great training plans on their website. So I'll try to put all those links in the show notes so it's easy for you guys to find. Jason, what is the mile pace you have to keep before getting swept? You need to have a 16-minute per mile pace. So you really could walk a half marathon, but that's going to be a pretty quick half marathon. And if you're starting in the last corral and you're doing that 16-minute per mile, you're going to be stressed the whole time. And I don't know about you, but I don't really want to run a race where I feel like I'm being chased. I want to be able to relax, maybe get a picture with a character. So I usually train to be able to do at least a 12-minute mile. Again, I'm running. So if you're going to walk, you want to make sure that you're walking very quickly and that you're trained to at least do that 16-minute per mile. To be on the safe side, I would try to be closer to 14, minimum of 15, and then see where you go from there. The good news is if you're not in the last corral, they don't start that 16-minute per mile till the last runner starts the start line. So that means if you can turn in a qualifying time, and like for a half marathon, you could turn in a 10K qualifying time, it would give you a little bit of leeway and make you feel maybe not quite so stressed out that you might get swept. But again, give it your best shot. And I've had friends that have been swept. It's not humiliating. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not fun to get on the bus, but it happens. You get injured. Your training didn't happen the way that you wanted. So it's not the end of the world. And Disney tries to do a really good job of it. So that's important to note as well. Jennifer is here from Michigan. I'm so glad you're here. That's awesome. Okay, Jen, do you think you could explain Magic Mile? That's one concept I don't get. So what he's trying to help you is determine what your pace would be during the race. I don't get it either. How helpful am I? I kind of get it, but to me, because I'm not really ever doing it. Oh, how do I say this? I don't know. I don't really understand it either. I mean, I know you're supposed to run like at a quicker pace, but somebody smarter than I am hopefully can explain it. I did it once in training years ago, and it was just too complicated for me. So now I just train as quickly as I can without getting injured and hope for the best. That's not a very good answer. Let's see. Yeah, Janet, your husband just dresses for it and he's good to go. What do they say? There's no such thing as bad weather. There's only being inappropriately dressed for the weather. So there we go. Do they time the 5K? Jennifer, no. I don't think they time the 5K. I've only done a Disney 5K once, but I'm pretty sure it's not timed. Although I do know there's a time at which you have to be done. So if someone could go run and check if you have time, but I do not think. Oh, Ryan, thank you so much. Super chat from Ryan Sweeney, $10. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your support of the channel. I really, really appreciate that very much. Thank you. Screek 1981. Thank you. Hopefully that made you feel better that you don't understand the Magic Mile, because I don't really understand it either. So Jeff Galloway lives here in Atlanta. Maybe one of these days we'll get him to come and be on my podcast or on my YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. That ain't happening, y'all. Well, I suppose you'd never know. Should never say never. My husband, Scott, and if you go to my blog, you can find his story. He lost 100 pounds and several years ago, and running the Galloway plan was one of the ways he did that. And we went to go meet Jeff when he ran the Goofy Marathon, and Scott ran it. And Scott was able to share with him that because of him, he was able to lose 100 pounds, turn around all kinds of heart problems and pre-diabetes and all of these kinds of things. And it was really very inspiring to watch Jeff just take so much time with my husband. And they have a great picture together. And it's just one of those experiences that we will never forget. And those of you that may be struggling with weight issues, I just want you to know to hang in there. I know that Scott would tell you that losing 100 pounds was the hardest thing that he ever did, but it completely changed his life. And his doctor basically told him, as I know a lot of people have heard, if you keep on like you're doing, you're not going to live past 60. And at the time he was 47, 48. So of course I was like, okay, dude, you have to figure this out. You have got to get this together. And you can't, it's just like with addiction or anything else, right? You can't tell someone that. And also with weight, it's a very tricky issue. You don't want to say to someone you love, you have got to take this weight off, because it's just fraught with so much emotion. And you know that they already feel bad about themselves. And it's this whole long thing. but something that the doctor had said to Scott, something just clicked and it completely transformed his life. So you can do running. Oh, Jennifer, thank you so much. Another super chat. Yay. I need like a like that. That was really impressive, Jennifer. Thank you. Jennifer just did a super chat. I really, really appreciate that, Jennifer. I'm trying to get you guys good info. As I've said, I'm not an expert, especially not in running. I've just been doing this a long time. That is my experience. My first Run Disney race was in 2010, and I'm getting ready to run one in 2019. So oh, Team Cuddles, thank you so much. You are always so supportive in your comments and participation. Doing that super chat means a world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gosh, you guys are really blessing my heart tonight. And with the week I've had with this dog, you have no idea what that means to me. So thank you very much. So getting back to Run Disney, train. That is always my big advice for people. I think people think because it's, this is going to sound so weird, but I think they think that because it's Disney, that they don't really have to train, that it's like not that big of a deal. And oh, Jennifer says, my sister and I want to start a channel and I've already noticed it's expensive. It is. It's not free to do a YouTube channel. It's not free in money and it's not free in time. It takes so much more time than I ever knew. I'm still grateful that I do it, but yeah, anyway. And I don't know that I know Jeff Galloway. I mean, we've met him. I guess if you've met someone, you can say that you know them, right? And we have pictures with him. So let's say I know Jeff Galloway. Let's go with that. I see him at almost every race and say hi, but he doesn't know my name or anything. But he should. He should start watching the channel, don't you think? Might learn some stuff. No, I'm kidding. I'm glad you're here too, Team Cuddles. Thank you so much. So Karen is saying Run Walk is great for building endurance. We use it for Dopey. Now, for those of you, oh, Tommy O is here. Hey, Tommy. For those of you that don't know what the Dopey is, Karen is particularly crazy because the Dopey is the 5K on Thursday, the 10K on Friday, the half marathon on Saturday, and the full marathon on Sunday. And what kills me about any of the challenges is getting up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 mornings in a row, I think would do me in. I just don't know if I could handle that. I've done like the glass slipper challenge and the Dumbo double dare in California, and just getting up that early 2 mornings in a row nearly killed me. So doing it 4 mornings in a row, I don't think I could take it. I know, the Dopey. And you know what? I want to say that you guys are amazingly courageous and how awesome that you do that. I know y'all, you're just crazy. You're just crazy. But I should never say never. I've learned a long time ago, never say never, but I don't ever plan on doing the Dopey. Having said that, if any of you are running the marathon, my routine has become, I run the half marathon and then I cheer for the full marathon. And I'm telling y'all, if you are considering becoming a runner and you have never done it before, go cheer for a full marathon and cheer the whole time. Like go out there when the fast people are running by and then stay until that last pack of runners. You will not only be inspired to run, but you will be inspired just with humanity, just who people are, what they're capable of. I usually cheer, and this will be my 3rd or 4th year to cheer here. I usually cheer right by the boardwalk, which is mile 22, 23 maybe. They're getting close to the end at that point. Mike, funny you should ask. By the boardwalk is my favorite place to cheer, and you can get an Uber to drop you off there. So here's, where the walkway is between the boardwalk and Hollywood Studios. That is where I like to cheer. It's like mile 22, mile 23. The runners are so done. And if you've run a marathon, if you've not run a marathon before, you might think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. If you're at mile 22 or 23, you're almost done. It's not that big a deal. All my marathon runners, Karen, respond to this. Mile 22 or 23 to mile 26 of a marathon feels to me as long as the entire race. Like it is, I don't even know how to explain it. Like your brain is going, okay, I know we're almost there. And I know I only have whatever it is, 2, 3, 4 miles left. But it is a very challenging time of the race. And cheering there where I do at Boardwalk, I see a lot of pain. I see a lot of runners. I see a lot of people crying, and not because they're finishing a marathon. They're crying because they just want to be done. And to be able to cheer for them and support them and lift them up is, I mean, I'm loud and obnoxious. And yes, there are some people who, maybe don't appreciate that. But last year's sign was from Lord of the Rings, and it said, "There will come a day when you cannot run, but this is not that day." And having that sign and having people run by, I'm going to cry talking about it. Oh, shocking. I'm crying during a YouTube broadcast. Having people run by and point at that sign and tell me how much, literally, I had one guy who was like, "You have no idea how much I needed to read that right now." And you guys, it's just inspiring. And runners are just such good people. Anyway, yes, Karen's saying, "I loved having support around the boardwalk as it's toward the end, and it's great to get the extra encouragement." You know what's funny, Karen, is I probably cheered for you last year and we didn't even know each other. So I think that that's super fun. I'm so glad people cheer. It helps. Jennifer, it so does. And if you're ever cheering, just don't fall into the trap of if you're waiting to cheer for a particular person, cheer for everybody, because there's nothing worse than when you're giving it your all and somebody is cheering and then their friend goes by and then they just look at you like this. You're like, "Please cheer for me. Please. I need you to cheer for me." So Karen is letting you guys know that Dopey was great, but the training was super tough. And it's true that the timing for, Karen is saying the 5K is timed for Dopey runners because you get a total time for Dopey. Yeah, that makes sense. The timing of the Walt Disney World Marathon is tricky if you are a person. Because it's in January and you've got Thanksgiving and Christmas and, well, Karen doesn't have Thanksgiving because she's in the UK, but the holidays, family in town, all of those kinds of things, it can make it really, really tricky. So I always tell people, if you're going to do marathon weekend, try to plan for a longer than necessary training plan. And then if you don't do a few of your runs, you're still in good shape. But it is a hard race to train for. I have missed, I think in the last 9 years, I think I've missed marathon weekend twice. And both times about broke my heart. Cause I was like, to not be there cheering for that marathon is really, really hard for me. So anyway, and yes, Jennifer Nauman, I agree. A 5K is a perfect way to do a girls' weekend. I love that your family will be at home because we know I love my girls' weekends at Disney. I also love going with my family. My family is awesome. Here is a picture of my family at Disney. But I'm also super glad to go with friends and do it that way. And actually, I think a Run Disney race weekend is such a great opportunity to go with girlfriends. Any of them. We're doing Star Wars Marathon weekend. I'm going either on my own or with Scott, although there'll be so many people that I know that will be there that I'm not really going to be alone. But the Star Wars race, I always do with my friend Sarah. And so, it's just become she lives in Colorado. I live here. It's just become something that we do every year to connect. And I absolutely love it. So that's my Run Disney inspiration for you today. Run Disney is a whole nother animal. Norlene is saying, "Hi, Norlene. Your sister is training for Dopey in 2020 and the whole family, but my mom are doing the 5K. I love it when whole families do races together. I ran the half marathon last year for a while. It was so inspiring with a grandparents, the mom and dad, and the kids. And the grandparents were probably in their early 70s, and everyone had decided to stay together. And watching this whole 3-generational group run together, that was really amazing. And Maureen, yes, they will sell out, probably. It's not as bad. Again, it's not as bad as it used to be. Oh, Dawn, safe trip home, sweetie. Dawn's been at Disney World all week, and now she is headed back home. Don't be too sad. Talk to you when you get home. What were we talking about? Oh, but do they sell out? People always ask me that question. How early do I need to sign up? Sign up as early as you can. Unfortunately, and this is the part that I do not like about Run Disney, and Run Disney, I'm looking at you if you're listening. They make it very difficult for you to transfer your bib. If you have a medical issue, they usually will let you get like a waiver for the following year if you have a note from your doctor, but you can't transfer it to someone else. You can't get a refund. And that has always bothered me about RunDisney. But pretty much as soon as you're fairly sure you're going to go, I would sign up. If you've never run, like let's say that you're hoping to do the 10K, I would maybe consider running a local 5K just to make sure that that's even something that you enjoy doing before you make the financial commitment to running a RunDisney race, because they're not inexpensive, right? They are expensive races. So that's definitely something that you want to consider in advance. So, yeah, they do sell out. It just depends on the race. It depends on the year. If it's like an anniversary year, then it will sell out more quickly. This year, I'm not sure what's sold out right now for Marathon Weekend. I'd have to check when we get off the podcast. I feel like Dopey sells out always pretty quickly because there's only just a very few amount of Dopey spots. But the other races you can usually get into for a while. But as soon as you know you're pretty likely to go, I would go ahead and sign up. But that's just me. So I am gearing up as soon as next week. I'm hoping to do kind of a great gifts for runners. And that's one of the things I'm going to mention is a Disney gift card. If people have a RunDisney enthusiast in their life, and those of you that people are always wanting to know what to give you, that is a great option because you can give, you can give somebody a run or a Disney gift card with maybe a Disney running shirt. They have a whole area on the Shop Disney website with lots of fun RunDisney stuff, which who doesn't want to train for a RunDisney race in a RunDisney shirt, right? So definitely do that. A note on RunDisney shirts, as long as I'm all over the place, I always size up. And when you get there, you can double check. This one was, I think this is a large. And y'all, I am normally a small. And this shirt is large. Now, granted, it was RunDisney France, so that may have had something to do with it. But we have not found the sizing to be super consistent, although I always size up. And then when I get there, see if I need to go back down. So that's just a little tip. And they do now have male and female shirts. There was a time in RunDisney, in the time that I've been involved, where all the shirts were unisex, and it was not good. But anyway, how many Disney half marathons are there each year? Okay, Mike, am I going to miss any? Let's start. So Wine and Dine just happened. Marathon Weekend, and all of these that I'm going to name have half marathons. Star Wars. Oh, I missed Princess. So Wine and Dine, Marathon Weekend half, Princess half, Star Wars half, and that's it. Did I miss anything, you guys? Did I miss any half marathons? I don't think I did. I think that's it. They used to, of course, have the half marathons and 10Ks and 5Ks in California, which they don't anymore. So we can all hope that that's going. Oh, of course, Paris. Kelly, you mean the one that I just got back from? Yes, of course, Paris. Which, if you didn't watch my Disneyland Paris half marathon vlog yet, definitely go and watch it. I poured over people's vlogs about the Disneyland Paris half marathon because I just didn't have any idea what to expect. So for those of you that are thinking of running in Paris, here's the reality. Running a half marathon in Paris is just like running a half marathon in Orlando. It is 13.1 miles and you need to be trained. And the only thing along the course in Paris that was it's going to make you guys laugh, that kind of wigged me out was the kilometers and not miles, because I'm so used to seeing the mile signs, and a kilometer is obviously much shorter than a mile. And of course, I'm not going to be able to do math, especially not when we get like past mile 8 or 9. Forget it. So I kind of was in this constant state of confusion because I've run so many half marathons, and I know, I usually chunk it, right? I'm like, okay, I need to take it easy for the first 3 miles. And then, miles 3 through 7, I need to be really even on pace. And then mile 7 is going to suck because I don't know why, but for me, mile 7 always sucks. And then so like 7 to 10 are going to feel a little bit rough. And that's when I'm going to really want to stop running. And then 10 to 13, I only have a 5K left and I'm done. So this has been my mental game with running a half marathon for literally a decade. So I had no idea how much it was going to throw me off to see kilometers and not miles. So that would be the other thing, that if I could be a complete brat, I would love it if Run Disney would have mile markers too. I know that doesn't make any sense. And I could easily have just put it on my phone so that I could double check, but I don't know. It just kind of messed with my brain and wigged me out. But I definitely loved running the half marathon in Paris, and I really do hope to do that again someday very soon. Yeah, Karen is backing me up on that. The last few miles are killer and World Showcase is never ending. When you dream about running the marathon at Walt Disney World, you just see pictures and you watch videos and you see people running through World Showcase and you're like, oh, look, and they're going by Morocco and they're going by Japan. And oh, it's just so amazing. And they're almost done. And look how happy they are. Y'all, by the time you enter into World Showcase at the marathon, unless you're not me, like I suppose if you are a world-class athlete and you run marathons all the time, this is not the case for you. By the time I hit World Showcase for the full marathon, I'm dead. I am like, get this race over. And the longest part to me, Karen, tell me if you are hearing me right now. When you come in to like run by the ball, and now we're talking, you have like half a mile left, maybe, but you can't see the finish line till you round the corner and the gospel choir is on your right hand side. You can kind of hear it, but it's not, those of you that have run the Chicago Marathon, it's kind of similar to that, where you get over that big hill and then ta-da, then you're at the finish. It's just, that just feels like an eternity to me. So sorry, I could go on and on about that. In Walt Disney World, oh yay, I will be cheering for you again in 14 months, Lord willing. Which race has the coolest running path? Or are they all the same? Maureen, in my opinion, so Wine and Dine and Princess and the half are all fairly similar. As far as the half marathons are concerned, obviously the full marathon, you go through all 4 parks. So that's the only one that you go through all 4 parks. I love the Star Wars half marathon course because you go through Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios. I just love that race. I have so much fun doing it. I have so much fun with friends doing it. Do we run through Magic Kingdom for Star Wars? Why am I losing my mind on that? I'm feeling like maybe we either don't run through, do we run through Magic Kingdom? I know we run through at least 3 of the parks. Okay, now I'm losing it. Somebody go look up the Star Wars race for me. But I love running through Animal Kingdom. That's just like one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite parks anyway. And it's really one of my favorite parks to run through. And we ran through Pandora last year. And they don't have as many hills. Yeah, that's right, Scott. Thank you. I'm so sorry. You could tell the sleep deprivation is kicking in, Scott. I was like, I'm really almost positive you don't run through Magic Kingdom. So, oh, Coral's here. Hey, Coral. So yes, it's a huge, but make sure you guys check out Coral's channel. She's almost to 5,000 subscribers, and I really want her to get there by Christmas, and she has to beat me to 5,000 subscribers. So everybody go subscribe to Coral's channel right now so we can get her to 5,000 subscribers before I do. What was I talking about? Oh, we were talking about Star Wars half marathon. The Star Wars course does not have as many on-ramps. So Princess, the regular half marathon, and I'm not sure about the Wine and Dine course because I haven't done Wine and Dine since they moved it to the morning. But you have more than one pretty steep on-ramp, and I'm not a fan of those. And so Star Wars is not only the flattest, but again, I love running through 3 parks. So Coral's saying that I need to beat her. Okay, Coral, here's what we'll do. Whichever one of us gets to 5,000 first, they have to buy the other one our next round of drinks at Nomad Lounge. So you need to tell me if you're game for that. So that way we can compete and yet not, if you take it that way. Oh, Maureen just watched her first Coral video. Yeah. Did she explain that story adequately about those headphones that were supposed to be a surprise Christmas gift for her that will show her husband not to send Amazon stuff? I just told my husband to change the, oh yay, Coral, we're on, good. to change the, like, when you go in and put the address, to make the address the two, like Santa Scott or something like that, so that I won't open them, because you know how many Amazon boxes we get, y'all. I don't want to open my own Christmas presents, even though I am sending him links to everything, but still, we want a little bit of surprise. um Team Cuddle says, I feel like you and Coral need to have a channel together. You are like a comedy duo. I love seeing you two together. You crack me up. Well, Team Cuddles, that's good, because the reality is we crack each other up on a daily basis. So Coral's dog had the same surgery that my dog had last year. And so she's been really supportive through this whole surgery ordeal and medicines and all of that. But anyway, so yeah, Jennifer, you should definitely do the Star Wars race. I absolutely, and I mean, it's Star Wars. You can't go wrong. The only downside of the Star Wars race is that it is in April and it can be very warm. In fact, this will be the 4th year I've done it. And every year it's been very warm and very humid. But I still love it. It's still my favorite race. And especially since I've done it since the inaugural race, I'll keep doing it as long as I can, keep getting out the door and going for a run. So yeah, so that's all good stuff. So yeah, and Coral saying that I'm motivating her to run. Coral, you need to run. There's no reason why you're not a runner, other than the fact you live in a freezing cold place. But Coral did the virtual 5K that RunDisney did. What do they call that? The Disney Shorts, which I have not done yet. But y'all could go and watch her video just about unboxing her medal and all of that. So that's a really great, easy way for you guys to kind of get into RunDisney, especially if you've never run before and you want to train for a 5K, but you're not sure you're ready to make that big of a financial and a time commitment to training for a race at Walt Disney World. You could do the shorts. And I don't know when they're going to do the next one. I'm sure they're going to do it again because it was so popular. And I think they did a Star Wars related one, or are doing a Star Wars related one. So you guys can go to the RunDisney website and look into that. So, oh, Jennifer got a package from the Disney store today. Did you see? So Coral got some jammies that I have got to get. She bought them at Walt Disney World, and I did not see them on the website, but they're like black with all the different ornaments on them. They look so fun. Yes, Karen is saying, watch the Paris vlogs. I'm in them. Yeah, so I always tease Karen because she's my friend from Dublin that lives in London that I met in Paris. So, that's pretty soon. I'm going to try to plan a trip to Dublin and she's going to show me around, right, Karen? That was my understanding. I get a personal tour of Dublin, so that will be good. Okay. Oh, they are there? Okay, so Coral's telling me that those jammies that I need to get are on the Shop Disney website. Okay, well, shockingly, the Shop Disney website was being really slow for me. So evidently I just didn't have enough patience to look for them. So I will go on there and get those. Oh, Coral wants to go to Dublin too. Done. Karen will take us both around Dublin, won't you, Karen? She has no problem with that. Her only stipulation was that we tell her early enough. So Coral, I'm thinking about doing the Dublin Half Marathon. So you need to look at that because that would be really fun for you to train for a half marathon. All right, we only have a couple. I'll send them to you. I need those jammies, Coral. I'm telling you. Anybody have any other RunDisney or running related questions? Anybody thinking about training for your first RunDisney race or your first race in general? Just do it. I mean, y'all, if you've heard my running story, and if you haven't, you can go and watch my video where I talk about kind of how I got started and all of that. But I was 37 before I could run a mile without stopping. I was 39 when I ran my first half marathon. I was 40 before I ran my first marathon. There's no such thing as, and my husband, as I told you guys, who lost 100 pounds through running, you are not too big to run. You are not too old to run. Yes, you do need to be in basic physical good health, but especially if you do the run walk program, I really feel like, the guy, the chef in Ratatouille, Chef Gusteau, who says, or Gustav, Chef Gustav, who says anyone can cook. anyone can run. I'm a perfect example of that. I never wanted to run when I was young. I hated running. I thought running was punishment. And now running is kind of my salvation and it's my favorite thing. Kelly's saying she started in her 50s. I ran the half marathon at Disney for a while next to a woman that was in her 80s that started when she was in her 60s. And she's running half marathons in her 80s. So, obviously we're the weird ones, Kelly, the late in life onset runners, but yeah. Thank you, Karen. I wondered when you were going to acknowledge that. The loop round by the choir takes ages. So, yeah, they always say that there's a running joke. There's a running joke that it's not the 26 miles that get you, it's the 0.2. It really is that last little bit, not literally the 0.2, but it is the last little bit of a marathon that feels like, oh my gosh, just so long. I'm guessing it had to be super hot for Wine and Dine this year. Yes, I just watched a Wine and Dine video and it looked like they were miserable. So it's RunDisney, y'all, which means it could be 35 degrees and icy, or it could be boiling hot and 90% humidity. It's more likely to be boiling hot and 90% humidity, but we just accept it and we have a great time and we high five Mickey Mouse and we love it. And you have to come and do it with us. So guess what, you guys? It's been an hour. Can you believe? I want to say thank you to all my super chatters. You guys are awesome. The support that you give the channel means more to me than I can possibly tell you. Thanks everybody that took time out of your busy days. I'm going to go give medicine once again to a sick doggy. And it was great having you guys here tonight. As always, keep the conversation going. If you have more RunDisney questions for me, put them in the comments because I will check those. I actually put another video up early today, and make sure you go check out my giveaway because I am doing a giveaway for a Nutcracker Dooney and Burke bag. And I put that giveaway up yesterday, I believe. So make sure you go and check that because I want you guys to be able to win. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being awesome. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.